Come have fun with us and don't forget to subscribe.
What's up everybody, I'm Rick.
And I'm Anna, and welcome to our review of the 1937 movie Captain's Courageous. For those of you who are new here, hi and welcome. Don't forget to subscribe to have fun with us. This channel is dedicated to Rick and my bucket list of goals and dreams that we hope to accomplish in our lifetimes. And one of those goals for us is to watch every movie that was nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards from 1927 to 2028.
A lot of movies.
We are currently at the year 1937, and to this day we have watched 79 movies as part of this goal, the latest of which is Captain's Courageous, the movie that we're going to be talking about today. Released on May 11, 1937, this MGM coming-of-age adventure film tells the story of a spoiled brat who falls overboard from a steamship and gets picked up by a fishing boat, where he is made to earn his keep by joining the crew in their work. That's a very interesting premises of a movie, don't you think so?
It is. And, looking at the name of the movie and the poster, because I had seen them beforehand, I thought this was going in a totally other direction. I thought he would be stranded with his dad, and then the two of them would have to learn to, come to terms with the fact that they don't talk, they don't know each other really, and then the same kind of story, but with the dad instead of Manuel.
Right, the fisherman.
Yeah, but I feel like here it's much more interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting to see how he actually develops that kind of a relationship with Manuel, the fisherman, that maybe without being aware, he would have wanted to have with his father.
Dad, yeah.
Because that's kind of what we're seeing here. Like, in the end, he thinks of Manuel more than he does of his father.
Yeah, and that's a powerful scene at the end. We're jumping to the ending before we even talked about the rest of the movie. But when the dad, is trying to connect with his son, and the son is like, no, this is Manuel's boat, leave me alone. I want to do these things that Manuel used to do. I want to be like him. Like, it's gut-wrenching.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he looks up to him the way a boy would look to his father. Like, he wants to do what Manuel did. He wants to be a fisherman because that's what he saw Manuel doing. And I feel like also the stories that Manuel tells him, like, I'm a fisherman because my father was a fisherman. My father was the best fisherman in the world.
He taught me how to fish, and
Exactly.
then Manuel taught him how to fish. So he sees that same relationship. Contrary to his father, who he's always saying, oh, my father is busy with his company and everything, he doesn't really have that kind of relationship. The only time they talk at the beginning of the movie is when he calls him on the phone, and you assume he does that every day, just a quick phone conversation. Yeah, I'm going to school, bye. And then
exactly. Like, that's their relationship. Yeah. That's everything they have. I thought the growth of the main character, Harvey, is very interesting because really in the beginning of the movie,
spoiled brat is an understatement.
Totally.
I was watching it and I was like, oh my god, somebody throw this kid overboard. And then they did. I mean, they didn't throw him overboard. He fell.
The movie threw him
overboard. But then he gets into another ship and I'm like, oh no, throw him overboard of that ship too. Like, he's annoying. Annoying.
There is that one scene where the captain of the fisherman boat slaps him.
Yeah.
That was so satisfying.
And you're like, oh yeah.
But you noticed in that scene the shock on his face. Like, no one ever hit him. No one ever dared to deny him whatever he wanted, And
in school, even when it happens, he thinks he can turn the situation to his advantage.
Exactly.
Because in school, he gets punched by one of the kids.
Right.
And then he makes up this whole story about how the teachers locked him up.
Yeah.
And, tries to get his dad to get some people fired, get some people punished for what happened to him. Here, the fishermen, they don't care.
Exactly. I feel like it's interesting how every time we saw him in the beginning of the movie, like in school with his dad, with the teachers, with the other students, he does have that kind of impact. They don't have that kind of authority over him that you would expect an adult to have over a child. But then when he gets on the fisherman boat and he's like, well, turn this ship around and take me back to New York right now. And they're like, who are you? Yeah. Who are you to tell us what to do with our ship? Like, they don't care.
We're on a 3-month fishing trip and we'll bring you back to land whenever we're done with that fishing trip.
And then he throws around words like, oh, my father will give you $10,000 if you bring me back. They're like, yeah, sure, whatever.
So because they don't believe him. I wonder if they had believed him.
If they would have done it. Oh, good question.
Because the people in the school, they're aware that he's rich, And so when he tells this other kid, like, oh, my father's rich, he could bankrupt your father by not buying cars from him anymore, The other kid is scared because he's aware of the kind of influence the dad probably has.
True. But it's interesting to to see his character being kind of like dislocated like this, you know, out of his world, and then put into this situation where really whatever he has or wherever he comes from doesn't represent anything, you know, and he's just himself.
Your money is no good here.
Right. What can you do now? You can throw the fish heads overboard. Go do that.
Yeah. And of course, one of the biggest elements of the movie is the character of Manuel, played by Spencer Tracy. Do you have any info on the cast and crew?
Oh, I do. Let us see what that is. It's very interesting, actually.
Oh, okay.
You mentioned Manuel's character, but first some information about the inspiration for this movie. It is based on an 1897 novel of the same name, written by Rudyard Kipling. Interesting fact though, in the novel, the main character, Harvey, is 19 years old.
Oh, that's totally different.
That is totally different, but they changed the age of the main character in order to accommodate Freddie Bartolomeo, the actor who plays Harvey in the movie, because they wanted him specifically
to play
that role.
He's good,
and I think they made a great choice.
I think
he was really good.
It works not only because of the actor is good, the kid, but just in terms of like the story that they're telling. There's more impact if it's a kid than if it's a 19-year-old brat. At that point, I'm just okay.
I wonder like how different the story actually is with the 19-year-old, you know, discovering that he's not everything.
He's a spoiled kid.
Yeah,
like you have less patience for a 19-year-old to spoil the brat than for
definitely
whatever his age was.
I think around 10.
Yeah.
The movie was directed by Victor Fleming, and it stars, as I've already mentioned, Freddie Bartolomeo as Harvey Chaney, whom we've seen before in David Copperfield as young David.
Oh.
Now, interesting thing about Freddie and his performance in this movie specifically, they made the right call to want him in this role, like so much, because his dedication to the role, you know, for a 10, 11-year-old kid was outstanding. Everybody who worked with him noticed it. Just to give one example, for one shot in which he was supposed to have been wet, they sprayed him with a hose and a water bucket. But he felt like that's not believably wet enough, so he jumped overboard of the ship into the water in order to be completely soaked. And then he played the scene like that.
Hey, good for him.
Yeah, I mean, you know, a 10-year-old, that's impressive if you ask me.
But yeah, his performance, I think, and now that I'm reminded of him as young David Copperfield, I feel like when he played young David, the performance was not equal, like the whole way through. There were some moments where you're like, oh, he's a good kid actor, and some moment where you're like, oh my god, this kid. But here, there are none of these moments. I feel like even the parts when he's a spoiled brat, you believe in it. You believe in it so much that you hate him.
Yes.
And then the parts when he becomes more endearing and you get attached to him, you also believe in them too. Like he plays it very well.
Yes, I agree with that. But also you have to realize that even if it's just 1 year apart, for a kid, that's a lot of time to like grow and, you know,
as an actor,
develop his acting. Exactly. The movie also stars Spencer Tracy as Manuel Fidelo, whom we've seen before in A Libel Lady and San Francisco.
Probably the crux of the movie, the centerpiece, you know? I feel like even more so than Harvey's character.
So it's very interesting that I felt so too when I was watching the movie, that really Manuel is...
It's what keeps this movie going, you know, the story
It's kind
going.
of like, even if the main character is Harvey, Manuel is the centerpiece, you know, of the whole story.
Like without him, everything falls apart.
Exactly.
In terms of the storytelling.
However, the actor had a very different opinion on it. So when the production was finished, Spencer Tracy said, I got away with it. You want to know why? Because of Freddie, because of that kid's performance, because he sold it 98%. The kid had to believe in Manuel. Otherwise, Manuel wasn't worth a quarter.
Yeah, but definitely, I don't disagree with that either, you know, like, Manuel by himself without the kid doesn't work, but I'm saying the movie without Manuel doesn't work either.
Yes, obviously, but what he means here is that Freddie's very believable performance, the way he believed in Manuel,
makes you believe in Manuel.
Makes you believe in the character.
It makes you question less the accent or wherever that comes from. And
interesting thing that you mentioned the accent. He's supposed to have a Portuguese accent. Apparently, Spencer Tracy never even attempted to do a Portuguese accent, and he just did a random accent that he learned for a peculiar character for an earlier production that he had.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
He didn't even try.
I'm not surprised.
And it's also interesting because Spencer Tracy reportedly initially didn't want to take on the role. but it actually brought him an Oscar for Best Actor.
Oh,
So it was a
good for him.
good call for him in the end to take it. And a good pairing with Freddie Bartolomeo.
But you see here, Best Actor, not Best Supporting Actor, which is an interesting...
Yes, it's true. It's still a little bit unclear to me how they were deciding back then who's supporting actor and who is
who's the...
main actor.
The comment definitely resonates, you know, if
Yes.
the kid wasn't as good as he is and didn't, you know, go all in into the Manuel character, it could have fallen flat very quickly, you know, not only because of the accent or the... It's easy for a character like that played by someone who is not Portuguese, who is not a fisherman, who's, you know, kind of putting a layer of fakeness into this whole thing. It's easy for the audience to just snap out of it like quickly, like, oh, this guy.
Yeah,
You know? But because the
that is
kids
true.
believe in the character, you just let it slide. Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of see Manuel's character through the eyes of Harvey.
There's even a moment, and like I don't know Portuguese, so I wouldn't know. There's a moment where it seems like he's speaking Portuguese, and I'm like, is he?
Yeah, you know what? I was actually wondering the same thing because I listened to it and then I asked you what language are they supposed to speak, and you said, I think Portuguese. And I was like, is that Portuguese? Really? Like, I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure. It might be, but I wouldn't.
Because I've heard Portuguese before and
Yeah,
I felt like I
exactly.
would have recognized it, but I was like, they're telling me it's Portuguese, so I guess that's what it is.
The movie also stars Lionel Barrymore as Captain Disco Troop, whom we've seen before in David Copperfield, Grand Hotel, and The Hollywood Review of 1929. I thought it was an interesting character to mention because even if he's not, I mean, the movie is mainly about Harvey and Manuel, but I feel like the captain does play a very important role there because from the moment Manuel brings Harvey on board of the ship, the captain is the one who kind of pushes him towards the kid. Like, hey, you brought him here, it's
You
your
take care of him,
responsibility.
yeah.
Yes, exactly. And I feel like he does play an important role in the way the two characters develop their relationship.
But the captain is also kind of a second father figure, you know. He's even the one who at the end tells the dad, the real dad, you know,
Yes.
your kid needs you, he needs a dad, and doesn't matter how old he is. He understood right away that this kid needs some discipline.
A
and
father
some,
figure
yeah,
in his
exactly.
life.
That's why he punched him.
The movie was a great success at the time. It received outstanding reviews and it continues to get good reviews to this day. It was nominated for 4 Academy Awards. First off, Best Picture, or as it was known back then, Outstanding Production. Best Actor in a Leading Role for Spencer Tracy, which, as I mentioned already, he won. Best Writing Screenplay for Mark Connolly, John Lee Mahin, and Dale Van Avery. And Best Film Editing for Elmo Veron. So that was it for the information that I had about the movie. Is there anything else that you would like to talk about?
Yeah, there's something we didn't mention. Like, most of the movie takes place on water, on ships, and I'm not sure like how they did it, but it was believable. Like the whole way, those scenes with the storms, those scenes of them going out fishing.
So those scenes were actually accomplished by very smart editing techniques. All of the wide shot scenes that we see in the movie were filmed on location in North Atlantic off the coast of Newfoundland and Labrador. However, the actors filmed their scenes in the waters of the coast of California mostly, for the most part. But they were filming in the water.
And so they edited both of these to make you think it's the same
Exactly.
waters.
I felt like, we were seeing those scenes where they were like on the ship and you would see in the background like the storm or something like this, and it kind of felt like it's not the same scene.
It's
Like
two
they're
layers,
actually
yeah.
like they're actually in studio and there's a screen behind or something like this. It wasn't entirely like that because their scenes were filmed in the water, but what we would see behind were actually the shots filmed in North Atlantic. So that's how they accomplished that visual effect of
Overlapping footage of the...
exactly.
Yeah, that's...
So it was smartly done, and there was a lot of effort put into it.
I guess that's
actually.
why they get a nod, a nomination for Best Editing.
Yes.
But yeah, other than that, I have nothing much to add. I really liked this movie. Yeah, I thought it was...
Would you recommend it?
entertaining. Oh yeah, definitely.
I would
Go
definitely
watch it,
recommend
yeah.
it too. And again, here we're talking about this like special category of movies that are adaptations of big novels or adventures novels. Big projects to take on, and I feel like once again, here we have a movie that does it really well.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the original novel, but
What I mean is that you don't feel like
something's missing.
The story
Yeah.
is, not complete. It's a very well told story in this
Yeah,
movie.
and even the changes that they made that you told me about, like changing the kid's age, I think it's for the better. And yeah, watch it. It's a roller coaster going from hating this kid to being 100% behind him. It's a nice movie to watch.
Yes, I agree. I would definitely recommend it too. And now it is time for us to rank this movie. As you probably already know, every year we are ranking all the movies that were nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards for that year, according to our likings and preferences, of course. And for 1937, as of now, we only have one movie on that list, The Awful Truth, which stands at number 1 for now.
It's a technicality. It was the only movie, that's why it's number 1. It's not going to be a hard debate here.
Yeah, definitely not.
No, The Awful Truth goes to number 2.
And Captain's Courageous goes to number 1. I think we completely agree on that.
Yeah.
There's not really much comparison really to make between these two movies.
This is a much better movie.
Yes. So I guess that is it for the ranking for now. At number 2 we have The Awful Truth, and at number 1 Captain's Courageous. And that was it for our review of the 1937 movie Captain's Courageous. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to watch more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe to our bucket list channel, where we don't just review movies, because it's a bucket list channel. We also have things like anime and outdoor activities and self-growth and learning new things. So yeah, if you're curious to follow us through our adventures, don't forget to subscribe. Once again, thank you all so much for watching. And don't forget, if you yourself have a goal or a dream that you want to accomplish, take that first step.
Bye.